What would you do if the person you swore to spend your life with secretly changed her emergency contact to a name you'd never heard? The glowing screen of my phone at 2 a.m., illuminating a hospital portal, felt like a digital guillotine. My wife Sarah had been in a minor car accident on I-95 near Miami. The automated notification listed Mark Jensen as her primary contact. Mark Jensen. The name echoed in the silent bedroom, a stranger's name replacing mine. A chilling mystery unfolding in the dead of night. My heart hammered against my ribs, not from fear for her safety, but from the cold, hard dread of what this detail truly meant. The air grew heavy, suffocating, as I stared at the screen, the truth beginning to crystallize into a horrifying, undeniable shape. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. The next morning, Sarah walked in, feigning a limp. A flimsy story about swerving to avoid a deer. First highs, usually so expressive, were flat, guarded. I played along, feigned concern, but inside, a silent scream tore through me. The humiliation was a physical weight, pressing down, making it hard to breathe. I, David, the devoted husband, had been replaced. Not just in an emergency contact list, but in her life, in our bed, in our future. The thought was a poison. Over the next few weeks, her behavior became glaringly obvious. Late nights at work events in downtown Chicago. Hushed phone calls she'd end abruptly when I entered the room. A new expensive perfume that wasn't for me. She started leaving her phone face down, a habit she'd never had. One evening, a text notification flashed across her screen. Can't wait for Dallas next month, my love. Dallas. My stomach dropped. The pieces were falling into place. I started noticing the small things. Receipts for dinners at upscale restaurants in New York City, tucked away in her purse. A hotel key card from the plaza, disguised as a souvenir. Her phone, once an open book, was now locked with a new passcode. She grew cold, distant, her touch mechanical, her words clipped. When I tried to talk, she'd turn it around, accusing me. You're imagining things, David. You're suffocating me. Her manipulation was a cruel art, twisting my pain into my fault. I saw him once, Mark Jensen. A smug, self-satisfied man in a tailored suit, picking her up from what she called a late meeting in Los Angeles. He gave me a dismissive nod, a smirk playing on his lips, as if I were an inconvenience, a relic. They looked untouchable. That night I broke. I sat in our empty living room, the silence deafening, and wept. Not for her, not for us, but for the naive, trusting man I used to be. The man who believed in forever. But from the ashes of my broken heart, something cold and hard began to form. A resolve. I wouldn't just leave. I would dismantle her world, piece by agonizing piece. I became a ghost in my own home. Observing, documenting. I installed discreet cameras in the common areas, not for proof of infidelity, but for her patterns. I hired a private investigator, a quiet man named Frank from a firm in Houston, to track her movements, to gather irrefutable evidence of her affair with Mark Jensen, a wealthy real estate developer from Dallas. Frank's reports were meticulous, detailing their rendezvous in various cities: Dallas, New York, Los Angeles, with timestamps, photos, and hotel receipts. I meticulously copied every incriminating text, every email, every photo. I built a fortress of undeniable truth. My revenge wasn't about anger, it was about precision. I consulted with a divorce attorney in San Francisco, a shark named Eleanor Vance, known for her ruthless efficiency. We discussed every clause, every asset, every possible angle. Sarah had always been financially dependent, her career a flimsy facade. I began to subtly shift assets, legally, carefully, ensuring that when the hammer fell, she would be left with nothing but the consequences of her choices. I also started anonymously leaking snippets of information to key figures in her small, tight-knit social circle in Atlanta. A vague email about unprofessional conduct, an anonymous tip about questionable ethics to her charity board. Seeds of doubt planted in fertile ground. The public exposure was orchestrated with surgical precision. It began with the divorce papers, served to her at a high-profile charity gala in New Orleans, an event she had meticulously planned and where she expected to shine. The papers detailed her infidelity, citing specific dates, locations, and Mark Jensen. The hush that fell over the ballroom was deafening, followed by a ripple of whispers, then outright gasps. The local news, tipped off by an anonymous source, was there, cameras flashing, capturing her stunned, horrified face. The carefully curated image she had built, the benevolent socialite, shattered in an instant. The fallout was immediate and catastrophic. Her charity work evaporated, her friends distanced themselves, unable to associate with such public scandal. Mark Jensen, a married man himself, faced his own public humiliation and a furious wife, leading to a swift, messy divorce and significant financial losses. Sarah, stripped of her social standing, her financial security, and her carefully constructed lies, was utterly ruined. The legal battle was swift, brutal, and entirely in my favor. Eleanor Vance ensured she received the bare minimum, a stark contrast to the lavish life she had grown accustomed to. She tried to fight, to spin narratives, but the mountain of evidence was insurmountable. I saw her once more, months later, on a cold, gray afternoon in a coffee shop in Seattle. She looked hollow, her eyes devoid of arrogance. She didn't see me, lost in her own desolate world. I simply watched, a silent observer to the wreckage she had created. The revenge was complete, not with a bang, but with the quiet, chilling echo of a life unmade. She had changed her emergency contact, and in doing so, she had changed everything. The end.